What's the importance of doctor-patient communication?
It's a huge importance. The doctor's giving you all the information that you don't have. So you need to know fully what they are telling you and understanding what they want you to do and steps to follow.
Yeah, I'm sure there are lots of problems with communication between doctors and patients.
Why do you think that is?
Well, in my case, it's because I'm afraid to ask.
If I were a patient with cancer, I want to know exactly what the prognosis is or was, and I'd really want to have a sense of alternatives open to me. And I'd also want, though, a positive communication from my doctor. I want to get a sense of the hope.
If the patient or the client doesn't tell you everything, it's very hard for you to advise them properly.
The doctor should never lose sight that he owes his loyalty to that patient, and that includes being open and honest and forthcoming.
I mean, it's up to a patient to be responsible for their care also and ask questions and not be intimidated by doctors.
If I deem you to be the one to tell me that I have a situation that can hinder my life now and forever, you should have communications through writing. I would hope you would have bedside manner, and I hope you would tell me that if it's good, bad, or indifferent, that you'll be by my side because you care.
My name's Paul Nichols. I'm from England. I live in New York and I consider myself a New Yorker. I'm 57 years old. I've just gotten into remission for the second time after having a stem cell transplant.
My name is Michael Grossbard. The first time I met Paul, he came in with a pathologic fracture from a disease that turned out to be multiple myeloma.
Michael Grossbard wasn't the only doctor that I spoke to. Very early on, I went to see other doctors. I'm not going to mention the doctor's name. On one particular occasion, it was as if I wasn't in the room.
Communication is incredibly critical at the beginning when you first sit in a room with someone.
And the doctor was examining my x-rays and my CAT scans, and he was going, "Oh, this is bad, this is terrible." And I was suddenly starting to get really scared because my doctor didn't have a relationship with me, he had a relationship with my disease.
Without good communication, there is no doctor-patient relationship. It's absolutely critical. You need to be able to hear what the patient is saying. The patient needs to be able to hear what you're saying. You can't be talking in code. There needs to be a directness. Paul is a unique patient in terms of his involvement with his disease and cancer in general.
I felt that in talking to Michael, he would allow me to partner with him.
I recall reassuring him that we had treatment options available for any of these and that we would embark on a program that worked together with him to try and treat his disease the best possible and get him back to the life that he wanted to have.
I came out of that appointment feeling very confident that this was a man I could trust, this was a man that I could believe, and that this was a man that could get me into the first stage of remission. If you have any fears whatsoever, ask the question. You've got to be open and you've got to be honest. You shouldn't hide anything in these relationships. Communication is the entire key to this, and you'll get out of it what you put into it.
I asked my father how it felt to have cancer. He said when he was in the hospital it was bad because they always gave him shots and the bone marrow transplant, it hurt. When I needed to talk, I went to my mom because she knew more about the cancer than I did. When my dad got out, I thought he was totally cured because I was still young then. But then later on, he told me that he still had some cancer left. I still worry that he might get sick again. When I worried about my father dying, it was a terrible feeling because I didn't want to go on without a father to play with, to be best buddies with. It was a bad feeling. I can't live with that. The way I deal with that is put it in back of me and just think about how I have it right now and don't worry about the future. He's been doing fine. He's much better. He's stronger. I wish if he was cured because He's assistant coach on my basketball team, but I wish he could be coach, but he can't. I have a stronger relationship with my dad. I should make him happier because I know he's going through a lot of pain. I pray that my dad would be better, not let cancer get to him again. Please don't let anybody die that I know.
The day that I told her that my breast cancer was back, all the day I kept thinking, how am I going to tell her? And one of the things I kept saying was, don't cry, but I did. This was the time that I showed my own fears. I said, Lily, my cancer is back. And she broke down, started crying. And then I told her, I said, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. I said, we're gonna get through this, we're gonna get through this. I said, I know a lot of ladies who cancer come back and they're fine. But she depended on me to keep a sense of humor, to keep a sense of stability. That's sort of funny because a lot of times, you know, when I come in, you know, from work, whatever, when I go, no, you come in, you like to get undressed and unwind or whatever. Of course, with me, when I unwind, body parts come off also. So it's like, okay, you unwind, I'm taking off. And a lot of times she'd come back there and she'd, you know, see my prostheses or whatever there, and we'd also practice. And I tell her, I said, when you're in the shower, to become familiar with your breasts. I said, don't, you know, be afraid to touch your breast. Know what's going on. Become familiar with your breast. I hope that she learned from me that your breast is not what makes you a woman. It's the person and what you do with your life. I want Alicia to know how proud I am of her. A lot of times she may have thought I didn't know that she was crying. I knew she was crying. And that's why it's important for me to leave a legacy and to let people know that I didn't let breast cancer just take over my whole life. I didn't let breast cancer stop me from being who I am. And most importantly, that I didn't let breast cancer take my daughter's spirit.
I had no symptoms when I was diagnosed. I had actually come off a losing primary race for the United States Senate. What I found during the campaign was I would get very tired at night. I didn't have myself totally into the race. And so I lost. After the election, I went to the doctor for my annual checkup. About a week later, not quite, I get a call down my office and he said to me, I've just gotten your blood test back. And I said, yes. And he said, you have either leukemia, lymphoma, or multiple myeloma. And I said, I get what the other two things are, but what is multiple myeloma? And he said, it's a blood cancer. Between looking it up on the internet, sitting down, talking to doctors, it didn't take very long for me to become an educated consumer. The first bit of advice I would give is this is no longer a death sentence. And the second bit of advice I would give is to get a doctor who specializes in this disease. With this disease, because there is so much happening, so much cutting-edge research being done, and if you're not on the cutting edge, taking advantage of what's going there, it's as if you got diagnosed when it still was, you know, a death sentence. I mean, I spent a lot of time with the doctors. They have said to me that they expect that a cure will be in the future. Is it going to be in my lifetime? I think so. And so I expect to make my lifetime long enough to watch that happen.
My brother Whit, he can't play football because of his brain tumor, and he can't play soccer, and he can't, and he can't play baseball in case if he gets hit in the head, he'll get hurt really bad.
I can play soccer and baseball. Just playing it a little while ago. I just don't get to play football.
Sometimes I get, when he has to go to the doctor's office, I get scared because I just don't want him to have brain cancer. It makes me sad. When he had to go have surgery, I got really scared.
Mostly afraid that if I go back in the hospital again, there's a chance that I might die.
Well, sometimes Whitney is, he gets mad at me for, one time I brought it up and he gets mad at me, and because he doesn't like to talk about it, he yells at me.
Don't like talking about things like that. Whenever my mom and dad bring it up, I just walk away. What my sister's saying is, I don't know, it makes a lot of sense. And I didn't know she felt that way about me and stuff.